Well, good morning, everyone. If you're after some unscripted ramblings by an Irishman in a field, you've come to the right place. Firstly, thank you to everyone that watched the most recent alpha video. It seems to be doing rather well. That sends out a very strong signal to me that you're here for the alpha content, and of course with 6,000 odd subscribers and content in 10 or 11 days of 25,000 views seems to be the right thing. It's the first time I did a kind of YouTubey. I eventually succumb to the whole YouTube twist at the end, draw you in with the clickbaity title, this alpha will ruin you, and then tell you that it's actually reasonable to run. And the reason it ruins me is because I cannot replace it with anything else. It's such a fine machine. So that was the close shave with the alpha. I advertised it a little while ago. And for the few of you on the kind of Alpha UK forum, you would have been aware of that fact. Some of you were quite shocked I'd actually put it up for sale. I was quite shocked as well. I thought I would put it on the market. I'm not using it a huge amount these days. It's kind of high days and holidays. The primary car for me, up until Mr. Khan ruined it for everyone in London and the surrounding area with this ULEZ ultra low emissions zone. I was using the L322 TDV at Range Rover for that. I could have still continued to use it, but an extra £12.50 a day just means if I was away down in Heathrow and night stopping and using it over 2 separate days, you know what, there's 25 quid in additional. And it doesn't sound much, but you know what, you add that up over a month and it starts to eat into the coffers somewhat. I bought my son a Mark 1 Leon. In fact, that's what he wanted. Didn't want a Golf, he wanted a Leon. And my brother found one about an hour away down the road. Went to look at it. It had 32,000 miles on it from new. It was black, it was in great condition and obviously garaged, and I just had to buy it. 1,600 quid later, it's back. And to be honest, it's 2003. It's a 1.6 16 valve sport. So it's got the little GTI, I suppose, sport seats, for want of a better word. It's a thing of beauty, but it's 2003, but it's a Euro 4 engine. It's an early adopter, so it's ULEZ compliant. There you go, who would have thought? So manufacturers build in a certain amount of future-proof into their engines. Of course, they're long-lasting. They're into, they take a long time to design, and they're in production for a long time as well. There's huge investment in engines. So that was their way of dealing with it. So there you go. I'm driving to work in a 2003 Mark 1 Sept Leon. Who would have thought, eh? How the mighty have fallen. But anyway, the reason the Range Rover is not being used as well, it's sitting at a jaunty angle. So there's a future video. One of the airbags is leaking slightly at the front. So leave it overnight and it does a little nod to say hello. So that's that one. So the alpha is staying. I've got some ideas for content on that. I've got kind of 5 things or 7 things I like, 7 things I don't like, best modifications, etc., etc. So there's another future content for that one. Big thank you to all kind of 200 of you that watch these kind of dog walk updates. My friends through the lens, really. I've learned a lot along the way, and I want to continue that process. So keep watching, keep commenting. I think the comments are the things that keep me going the most, to be honest. Makes me feel as if I'm not just talking to this little camera on a stick. Talking of cameras, actually, I've been passionate about photography since the mid-80s. My parents bought me a 35mm camera, an old Zenit 12XP for those that are interested, and I thoroughly enjoyed that, developing a little black and white dark room in the spare room and things like that. We'll have great fun. I've started a camera channel recently, so my travels will take me kind of globally. I tried the little Stelvio on a budget, and it had 400 views. It was an absolute flop. Took an age to edit, took a while to shoot, and it was a complete disaster. So it's quite obvious this is not a travel channel, even though it did have one of the most famous passes in Europe in there, albeit in a Fiat 500, but it was the Stelvio on a budget. If you haven't seen that, go and have a look. Kind of raise it by one. We'll get 436 views out of it yet. So that's it. So that kind of shocked me a little bit. I was expecting to get a little bit more out of that. And then I kind of gave up on this channel for about a month and just had a bit of a break. Now, I've been promising a bit more kind of varied content. Down route, I need to keep myself busy. I'll do that in editing, but I also want to go out and adventure. So that whole channel is very appropriately named as My Contrails, because as an airline pilot, you leave contrails in the sky, and I suppose a channel is a memory to that. I've had mycontrails.com actually for a long time. It must be about 20 years. And it was a kind of a travel vlog that I did a long time ago for visits, and a way to kind of store photographs way before there was any kind of photo bucket or anything like that to store online, long before any iCloud storage. So I was using that. Unfortunately, a virus got into that, and I basically just had to delete a whole lot. So starting from scratch, it's a real basic little website at a minute, but I'm going to kind of develop that. So that is my kind of YouTube adventure. I've also got the Easy Peasy channel as well. It's got about 6,000 odd subscribers, and it's all about electric cars as well. So if that tickles your fancy, I'm going to do that. I've got the Fisker Ocean coming in the next couple of weeks. In fact, the communication from Fisker has been, apart from one phone call, it's been absolutely woeful. They wanted to know how I was paying for it, and of course Mr. Barclays provided me with a loan, and the laughability of it all is I just inquired. I think Santander is doing the finance for the Fisker, and it was over 10% interest to buy a Fisker Ocean. So whilst they're providing finance, it's not particularly at a competitive rate. So that's the Fisker. Looking forward to that. That's from my wife. 440 miles electric range. First electric car I've ever owned. And I'm one of the lucky. Fisker Ocean 1, the kind of limited edition, launch edition with all the gremlins and the snags. I've factored in. That's what you get for being an early adopter into a brand new company. But anyway, they are slowly working through those, and I hope the end product that we get eventually will be well worth it. So that's coming. I was expecting the Ioniq 6, which is a bit of a tax dodge, to come in November. I got a phone call early September to say, when do you want your car? We can have it by the end of the month. And that kind of didn't really sit well, because do I really need two electric cars coming virtually simultaneously? So what I did was I reran the figures, found out that I can go from 33 pence an extra mile on a contract with 12,500 miles to 19 pence for every additional mile on a contract of 15,000 miles. I can include main dealer servicing instead of premier servicing, as they call it, through a Tusker scheme. And so I reran the figures. I said, well, unless you can match this better deal, I'll cancel the car. And I'll reorder it again under these new terms and conditions. And they said, well, we can do everything but the extra mileage. So 19 pence a mile is not a bad thing. So we're going to get the Ioniq 6, the old Streamliner, and run that one into the ground. 15,000 miles a year. That will be my chariot. So the Seat Leon will be replaced by an Ioniq 6. And the best estimate so far is that the car will be here in January. Long gone are all the the waiting lists and everything else for that. It seems to be that certainly Hyundai are about 12 weeks or thereabouts from order to delivery. Ultimate red and dual motor top spec thing with head-up display and all the fun bits, all the gadgets. So it'll probably be on the Easy Peasy channel. I might do a little bit here as well and expand and just see where it goes, to be honest. Electric vehicle channels are funny places. There's all sorts of keyboard warriors out there, and I don't particularly like some of the comments and the way people put across their point very forcibly. Unfortunately, that's the negative side of YouTube. I do read all the comments, by the way. I get upset by some, but the positive comments that come my way outweigh 20, 100-fold the negative side of things. So you just kind of gotta not rise to the occasion, as it were, but kind of reject the negativity of people that clearly don't know what they're talking about. So that's it. I've sold a car. 2 new ones coming, but I've sold one. The MR2 is gone. My father's car from long time ago sat on the driveway here for about 5 years. I put less than 1,000 miles on the thing over that time, so recommissioned it. I did that video. I'm going to do another one on the Ultimate Buyer's Guide for the MR2. I'm going to do an Ultimate Buyer's Guide for the L322. That's in the pipeline. I've got the Ioniq 6 video. You know what? It was so good I bought it. That's the I was at Fully Charged Live, had a test drive of one, and was absolutely smitten by the Ioniq 6, I have to say. So let me see, what else have we got? You know what? It seems to be a while since I've done one of these updates. And as I say, for the few hundred of you that watch this, from the bottom of my heart, much heartfelt thanks for kind of watching my idiotic stuff and ramblings of an Irishman. You know what? I think that's probably more than enough. Let me know in the comments which video you'd like me to produce. First of all, it's a one-man band here. And I'm not getting the time away that I could really. That'll all change. Things might die down on the channel a little bit. I've got the Airbus A350 course finally penciled in for the 14th of December. Fingers crossed that's going to go ahead. I'm really looking forward to it. I've spent 26 years flying the Airbus A320 all over Europe. I flew 737s, Fokker 50 prior to that. I started my flying journey with Aer Lingus back in the day. Then through to a company called British Midland, who became BMI, and then they that shall not be mentioned because they do not want any association with any YouTube and media and all the rest of it. The brand is sacrosanct, should we say. So there will be no mention of my current employer, but you can do the math. It's out of London Heathrow, and if you think about big airways, you're probably not that far off the mark. So there you go. Leave that to the very end. Only those that are actually, you know, interested in my kind of journey through life, flying career in cars, have got this far. So if you have, thanks very much indeed. And let me know which video you'd like me to edit first of all, and get that one out. Till the next time, all the best now. Bye bye.